Vale, ya estamos aquí para cubrir el Night City Wire episodio 5. Hoy se supone centrado en Johnny Silverhand, en el personaje de Keanu Reeves. A ver qué tal, gente. A ver qué tal. Hombre, dice Dante. A ver, hemos dado los cuatro anteriores Night City Wire, así que qué menos que darlo hoy también, ¿no? Mira Pascu, per vosaltres jugadors. Grande Pascu, hombre, me cago en la puta. De hecho, por si acaso voy a mutear las mierdas que luego pasa lo que pasa. Vale, vamos a ver qué tienen que mostrarnos esta gente. Johnny Silverhand.
Where'd you even come from? How are we even talking? Gotta get out of here, understand? And I'll kill anyone who gets in my way.
You weren't dreaming, V. Those were memories.
You two are connected in a way I can't make head or tail of. Who? Me and who, Vic? Silverhand.
Johnny Silverhand. Real talk of the town back in my day.
He died, like, forever ago.
You need to say there's an actual terrorist in my head. Right now.
He burned down half the city just to prove he was right. And burn the other half just for fun.
What do you want from me? Destroy Arasaka. I don't even know what that means. Do whatever it takes to stop him, defeat him, gut him.
He already tried to take over your body. You know, just for a little while.
Hear me, asshole? A bullet to the fucking brain. Get out! Just get the fuck out! Tell me how to get rid of it.
You don't have much time left.
You're a dick, you know. And you're a cunt. Maybe we'll fit together after all.
10 de diciembre, ¿se perderá esta gente las navidades o qué? No tendrán cojones. No tendrán cojones, No creo yo que tengan cojones. Rubén, esta gente se ha perdido el Black Friday, pero no se van a perder.
No creo. Ahora, es que no creo que quieran perderse las navidades. No sé cómo hubiese afectado Black Friday
Cyberpunk
a un juego recién lanzado y tal, pero perderse la campaña navideña a lo mejor es un palo muy gordo.
You know you don't gotta speak out loud to talk to me.
Hoy va a ser full fanservice de Keanu Reeves, parece, ¿no? Entonces, sí.
Hay que recuperar a toda la gente que dice que no va a jugarlo por los retrasos.
Hombre, la verdad es que si lo que va a recuperar, esto es lo que tienes que hacer, poner todo el rato en pantalla a Tito Keanu,
Johnny's either a dick, or he's happy, or he's trying to convince.
Know why? Because you've always been a fucking pussy, Carrie.
So it's been fun, and that was kind of what I was interested in. You know, the different options that the game could play. You know, playing the same person, but with different versions of them.
Motion capture, baby. Johnny
Hostia, tío,
Silverhand.
afeitado parece otro,
One of the first elements that I was involved in with the game was motion capture. I've done a fair bit of motion capture. I did it with in the Matrix films, so to start doing.
Lo había afeitado y me viene a la cabeza antes Johnny Mnemonic era que Matrix, tío. Hay que rentabilizar la inversión, dice. Hace 15 años mayor, ¿verdad? Míralo, lo ves ahí y dices, coño, ahí sí que parece que envejezca.
The toolbox, let's say, for the animators to work with for the character.
Y míralo, me parece un crío, la puta madre. Pelo corto y afeitado, 15 años mayor. 20 años han pasado desde Matrix, ya lo sabes de Joan Diana, ¿no? Abuela puta. ¿Y de Johnny Mnemonic cuántos? ¿30?
So he's kind of got all of these things leading.
Afeitado se nota más la edad, ¿verdad? Sí, el pilla. Míralo, parece otro tío, parece el hijo.
I think there's a Johnny Silverhand in all of us. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a good sense of humor, if not a little dark at times. He's very passionate. He cares. You know, it's he's kind of naive, but he's also super experienced in life. He's got certainly an appetite for life.
Super experimentado en la vida. Es el eufemismo que se utiliza cuando quieres evitar usar es el puto amo.
You know, he has a cause that he wants to fight against the corpocracy.
Come on. Don't tell me you're not interested.
He's kind of looking for a different kind of freedom.
Corps have long controlled our lives, taken lots. And now
Oye, bastante bien, ¿no?
Hostia, sí.
Todo lo que sea Keanu Reeves.
Estamos hablando de que Keanu Reeves ha afeitado y con el pelo corto parece el padre de Keanu Reeves.
What CD Projekt Red has shared with me in the way that they talk about the game and what I've seen is that it's got a lot of freedom. There's so many different paths that you can play the game on. But it's not just quests of paths. It's like, who are you? How do you want to play the character?
If I gotta kill, I'll kill. If I need your body, I'll fucking take it.
You can go into action, you can go into mystery, you can problem solve in different ways. And where you go in this world, there's so much detail, there's so many different things that you can go off into that are really interesting and fun. There's a real drama to the game and emotional stakes to it. And then there's lighter sides to it. And of course, the music, production design, technologically, how cutting edge it is. I don't think there'll be a game that looks like this. Yeah, it's intense.
I take the driver, you get his side.
Bye-bye.
Hombre, el personaje ha de ser la hostia.
Before we get into what it was like to actually work
El
with
personaje
Keanu Reeves, was it always
Keanu
him
de ser la
that you
hostia.
imagined as Johnny Silverhand? Was there anybody else that you ever considered having for the role?
Yeah, Holly, it was a long, arduous, extended process to imagine what Johnny Silverhand is supposed to look like, what he's supposed to sound like, what he's supposed to act like. Everybody and their great-grandmother seemed to have an idea. And the process actually involved a lot of people. The game director, character artists, writers, marketing staff. I could go on. You know, we cast a pretty broad net initially. We considered actors. We considered
Dice que mucha gente pensaba en cómo debía de ser Johnny Silverhand, los de arte, los de diseño, los de programación, los de marketing, todos tenían su opinión.
A recently deceased, longtime luminary of the recording industry. Now, some might say that it was a pipe dream to assume that we could do that technologically or otherwise. Well, I'll see you that pipe dream and raise you another, because one could easily say that it was a pipe dream to assume that we could successfully pitch to and ultimately enlist Keanu Reeves to play the role.
Now, I'm sure this is on everybody's mind right now, but what was it actually like to work with Keanu Reeves? Because even he said in the video, this was like nothing he'd ever done before.
Joder, qué fanservice. Le han preguntado cómo es trabajar con Keanu Reeves. Es full fanservice esto, ¿eh?
And I get where it comes from. Keanu
me resulta hasta violento.
When he's at work,
hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Eres John Wick?
To that work, he brings his talent, he brings his art, his technical skill, and overwhelming charm. And yes, the scale and the complexity were and are dazzling. Non-linearities, the variation in attitude, mood, emotion that are required to achieve them, they can be difficult to get your head around. And if you take all of Johnny Silverhand's bits,
imagínate ser ese señor de animación, de diseño, o de ahí de interpretación, y dice, no, hoy tenemos a Keanu Reeves.
Qué pasada. Qué pasada.
And that took focus, it took control, it took dedication, all of which Keanu provided in heaps.
So tell us a little bit more about the character of Johnny Silverhand, why he's important to the story, but also why it's important to have him played by like such a powerful personality.
Okay, how do I do this without spoiling too much for gamers? In the broadest sense, I'd say Johnny Silverhand is a co-protagonist of the game rather than a sidekick. I mean, there are
dice que Johnny es más un coprotagonista que un personaje secundario.
And he pursues it.
Pues mira, ya le han subido un poco el rol, ¿eh?
To get things done, V and Johnny have to work together.
A ver, yo si pago a Keanu Reeves para salir, ya lo utilizo bien. Ya Micael me voy a gastar los millones, se hace bien.
Le han dedicado un Night City Wire entero.
Y aquí estamos, relamiéndonos.
Both characters' continued existence becomes equally important. For any gamer or viewer or reader, what you have to do is create that bond between them and the protagonist or protagonists. You have to make those characters understandable to them, likable to them, lovable to them. With that understanding, even when they do something not entirely admirable or say something reprehensible, you stay committed, you stay involved, you stay bonded to them. And there's no denying casting a powerful personality, somebody who exudes charm by the truckload, helps to further all that.
So Boris, can you tell us, like, what does Keanu bring to Johnny Silverhand?
What Keanu brings to Johnny Silverhand is nothing more and nothing less than Keanu. I could parse that into a string of adjectives.
Dice, ¿qué aporta Keanu Reeves a Johnny Silverhand? Y dice, aporta nada más y nada menos y nada más que Keanu.
To anybody who's seen the applicable movies, Neo is Keanu, Keanu is Neo. John Wick is Keanu, Keanu is John Wick. John Constantine, Johnny Mnemonic, Jonathan Harker, Johnny Utah, they're all Keanu. And to anyone who will play Cyberpunk 2077, Johnny Silverhand will be Keanu. To my mind, at least, star power is a fact and an important factor for broad sections of the audience out there.
So can you give us more information about the process of motion capture, right? Because we saw you in the video, you know, doing some of it, but really, how does it work?
I wish I could, Holly, but I'm really no mocap expert, and I can basically tell you what the day looked like, what the process looked like to me. To me, it was a fine day in LA, and I put on a wonky-looking bodysuit with globules all over it, and I put on the head cam, and then we proceeded to play out scenes between V and Johnny, and we did it over and over and over again. As we did that, I must have poked Johnny in the chest hundreds of times, and I must have yelled "fuck off" at Johnny 35 times, you know. Well, I never expected to be doing any of that. No, I never imagined I'd be doing any of that.
Well, Boris, thank you so much for joining us. Your voice in the studio is quite iconic. So whenever I talk to you, I feel like I'm in a trailer. It's amazing.
It's not all that. It's not all that, Holly. Thank you.
Well, from Soviet-era synthesizers to body heat radio. It's time.
Así que es más un coprotagonista que un personaje secundario. Pues puede estar
guay. Así es. Y ahora están hablando de las radios, ¿no? Entre comillas.
A ver.
Sí, van a hablar de la radio.
¿Estará Radio Espantoso?
Yo, tal como está el copyright en Twitch, esto es para quitar, la radio entera. Hombre, tú me dirás, o sea, aunque bueno, no espero que haya...
Si ponen un tema lo bajo.
Getting that sound together is almost as important
as the actual look of the game, because the music is really helping you feel this emotional connection to the game. Ahí. Yo lo bajo un poquito, un poquito cero. O lo muteo, lo voy a mutear. Ña, os hago yo lo digo. Ña, na, la vida es una lenteja. O la toma o la deja.
Take the cyberpunk genre out of the 80s and give it a 90s flair. We took elements from rave, IDM, industrial, and make them fit our narrative purposes.
We've decided that close to the 100% of.
Pero no pares de hablar, aún así salta Wargios, Esta gente es muy astuta. Si tú supieras en qué cosas me ha saltado el copyright, fliparías.
I'm super proud of the team we've managed to gather for this project.
For me, it was basically my own personal aesthetic matching the aesthetic of the game. When I read the brief, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I can be myself. I can make music, and it comes from an honest place.
I love the fact that the music in this game is so varied. So we have some tracks that are super dirty, super heavy, and then we have some tracks that are very beautiful and ambient. I'm using all kinds of different effects. So it's been great to be able to experiment with the sound and the style.
Uy, ese chelo. Mira cómo te mira el copyright. La batería, bueno.
It's my first time actually doing any drum tracking for a video game. It's been really exciting. It's been a lot of fun.
It's all about making you feel like a perfect killing machine, because that's what you are basically.
Well, I can do that all day long. So you'll just have to tell me what you like, and what you don't like.
Cool. Okay. It's not going to sound like one thing, depending on what part of the city you're in.
We basically scored every quest pretty much with custom assets created specifically for that quest.
We ended up having over 7.5 hours of...
Si no metían algo de música, esta gente reventaba, ¿verdad? Tienen que poner algo de musiquita siempre.
Hombre, claro, eso siempre.
I've never worked with such a bunch of mad people in my life, and mad brilliant.
Es que no me fío ya.
The gear that we use comes out of boutique shops, or they are vintage synthesizers like this Polyvox.
No me fío ya. No me fío.
Put into creating this score pays off with satisfying and enjoyable listening and gaming experience.
Hello, Night City. What's shaking, Night City? Good morning, Night City. Your man, Stan here. Ooh, I love this town. Love it like you might love a mother who popped you out on the steps of an orphanage once and now stops you to ask if you got a smoke for her. And now, a shout out to all the lowlifes over at the Atlantis. Ladies and gents, here's that all-time classic in Night City.
Sí. Ahora, cantad todo lo que queráis. Míralo, los Beastie Boys. Guitarritas. Ahí, cuando hablan bien, ¿te puedes meter un strike por esto? Ahora mismo te puedes meter de todo.
Por todo.
Ahora mismo poca broma.
Got over 150 custom genre-bending tracks, all waiting for you to discover them by yourselves.
You know, the reason I wanted to be a part of Cyberpunk is, well, basically I know The Witcher is super sick, and then I actually got to play a preview of the game, which was fucking incredible.
I've always wanted to do something connected to a video game, so
¿Estos son artistas famosos?
Like when this came in, and it was like an instant yes.
I was kind of imagining what it would be like being a character in that
Yo
game.
no lo conozco.
Person that's a musician in this
Rat Boy.
time has grew up in that space.
Este de jugar League of Legends.
De hecho, en el chat de la emisión de CD Projekt están poniendo todo DMCA.
Es que salta. Yo mientras hablen así... No, pero cuando hagan esto, no. Cuando hagan esto, pues no. Si hablan, que hablen todo lo que quieran. Ahí, Cyberpunk, 10 de diciembre. Muy bien. ¿No conocéis a Rat Boy? Ahora es mega famoso, Franco, si no lo conozco. Son bastante underground, dice Alder Joan, ¿sí?
Onto streaming services for you to enjoy for free, and they'll be live at the end of this episode, so you can give them a listen later. In addition, if you're planning on live streaming Cyberpunk, or if you just want to make videos, we want to introduce you to a new mode that will allow you to disable certain copyrighted tracks.
Hablando del Rey de Roma.
Esto es interesante.
Están mencionando un modo especial para si quieres retransmitir, si quieres streamear Cyberpunk, puedes activar un modo
no vas a tener ningún problema, dicho,
en el que no te van a meter temazos, que te salte el copyright. Hostia, esto cada vez va a ser más necesario. Que lo juegas en tu casa, tú solo, ponte los temazos. ¿Que lo juegas? Modo stream. ¿Que no te acuerdas si lo streameas sin modo stream? Pues te vas a Facebook.
Te vas a chuparla.
Te vas a tomar por el culo.
Sin ir más lejos, la gente que streamea FIFA tiene que streamearlo con la música bajada.
Sí, no, me lo creo.
Sin sonido.
Mira. Pues un modo streamer a partir de ahora.
So hi, my name is Sarah Watling. I am the CEO of Jolly Research in Toronto, Ontario.
Estos son los de las animaciones, ¿no?
In this video, we're going to show
Sí,
you
eso parece,
a
¿no?
little bit about Jolly the software and Jolly in action within the world of Cyberpunk 2077.
Maintenant, tu vas répondre à mes questions honnêtement, sans détour.
Rayfield's mine.
Esto lo cogimos en FLCP, que estos tíos de Jolly Research tienen una tecnología que sincroniza labial con cada idioma, Nano, con cada idioma.
Coolest and best and highest quality facial performance on characters.
Oh. Is that supposed to sound familiar?
It's automatically generated on a face based on audio dialogue, audio speech from a voice actor.
Slow, deep breaths. Your cortisol and adrenaline spiked, but the soft activated your hormone blockers. Nothing happened. You're alive and well.
What Jolly tries to do is it tries to get to the root of what is being expressed in the vocal performance and put that on a 3D character.
That's Rogue. Best fixer in all of Night City.
There is just an incredible amount of performance in this game.
Sure.
A procedural solution allows you to animate over and over and over again at tremendous scale. Jolly is what powers every single character in the game of Cyberpunk 2077 in all of the languages that the game has been localized for.
Ahora escúchame bien. Este mierdas de Anthony Gilchrist. ¿Es tu contacto? Hat Infos zum Konvoi durchsickern lassen?
All you're doing is changing an attribute. For example, speech style. If you wanted your character to shout instead of mumble, instead of issuing a set of commands that redo the animation, instead you click an attribute going from, in this case, mumble to shout.
But you walk. You breathe, but you walk. You breathe. So you walk. You breathe.
If the lip sync is right, you don't notice. If the faces match and match the performance, you don't notice because you're too busy paying attention to how awesome the game is, how much you care about these characters, what you're going to do. And that's what we want. That to me is...
Eso es verdad. Si notas que no está sincronizado, o sea, si no está sincronizado lo notas. Y si no, no lo notas. Directamente estás escuchando como si escucharas al personaje de verdad.
Sí, exacto.
Eso es verdad, tío. El típico que dice el personaje, ¿what? Y ella dice, ¿qué? Pero abriendo la boca como un what y demon. Parece una película de karate de los 70.
Now, every copy of the game comes with digital downloadable goodies such as the art book, the original score, and a digital comic, all from the Cyberpunk universe. But there's more. You can also claim in-game items for Cyberpunk 2077. For example, you could be rocking the Wolf School jacket for simply connecting the game to your GOG account. And if you have other CD Projekt Red games, such as The Witcher or Gwent, you can get even more. And it works both ways.
Está diciendo que si conectáis vuestro juego a GOG y tenéis en GOG juegos como The Witcher o Gwent y demás, tendréis artículos de esos juegos dentro del juego. Hostia. Una chupa de The Witcher 3, ojito,
Now, this new My Rewards program is for everybody. No matter which platform you're playing Cyberpunk on, you'll be able to get your digital goodies and in-game items. Now, this is just the beginning, and there'll be more items coming in the future, and we'll have more information on My Rewards soon. As always, don't forget that if you've missed anything or if you just want to watch again, we will be uploading everything to our channels soon. So before we take a look at that new gameplay trailer, we just want to reveal that a number of games media from all over the world have been playing Cyberpunk 2077, and you'll be able to read their latest impressions when this episode of Night City Wire finishes, so you can go and check them out. So now, let's wrap up this episode and take a look at that brand new gameplay trailer.
Oh my God.
They got a lock on us. Engine's been hit.
Get us out of here.
I'm losing control.
At CD Projekt Red, we dedicate ourselves to telling immersive stories. Yet with every new project, we set out to make our games bigger, more complex, deeply engaging.
Come on, V. Let's get you home.
Cyberpunk 2077 marries exploration of a vast open world with kinetic combat, story-changing player choices, and robust character development, all to bring you into our vision of the dark future.
You ever feel like the city doesn't give you a choice? You either burn alive in it, or you never existed at all.
The year is 2077. An economic crisis culminating in nuclear conflict has left America in pieces. With most of the continent degenerating into lawless war zones, people from all over have converged on the already overcrowded Night City, one of the world's last great megalopolises. A hub amassing the best in resources and know-how, and home to manufacturers of cutting-edge technologies, Night City continues to offer the promise of a civilized future.
What? No, this isn't happening. Oh, but it is.
But in the city's streets, a merciless struggle for power rages. Gangs, corporate agents, hustlers, religious cultists, politicians, and all manner of criminals strive to outplay one another. Ordinary people get caught in the crossfire.
Looking for justice. In Night City, I seek revenge. Much more feasible here.
In this world, consumed by never-ending conflict, sometimes only an outsider will get the job done.
Elizabeth tells me you have answers for us. I'm all ears.
And that's you, an urban mercenary, a cyber-enhanced gun for hire.
You seem to understand each other. Take this, too.
As a mercenary, you swear no allegiance. You've chosen the outlaw life and trust that your abilities will carry you up Night City's ruthless, underground social ladder.
Heart of Night City. That's it right there.
To thrive as a merc, you need the right combination of gear, skills, and reputation.
Dex had a load to say about you. I hope he wasn't overselling.
With the money you earn, you can turn yourself into a living weapon, buying guns and enhancements in the hundreds. As you roam the city's streets, you gain the experience you need to upgrade abilities and acquire perks. Combine the right skills and gear to create a gunslinger with inhuman reflexes. A stealthy netrunner with command of all surrounding tech. Or practically anyone in between. In Cyberpunk 2077, you steal a prototype biochip that can set you up for life.
Being filthy rich.
When its sealed container is ruptured, the only way to prevent the biochip from failing is to slot it into your head. It turns out it contains the digitized soul of Johnny Silverhand, a dead rocker boy with violence on his mind.
You mean to say there's an actual terrorist in my head, right now?
He's out for revenge. Aims to bring down the megacorp that made the chip.
Do whatever it takes to stop him, defeat him, gut him.
What is in your head can shift the balance of power in Night City. The high and mighty will do anything to lay their hands on it.
Told you I'd end you someday.
The choices you make will shape your story and determine how events unfold.
V, you gotta take him down. That's why we're here.
But not everything in Night City is a matter of life and death. Sometimes it's about style, choosing your look, your ride, your pastime, who's at your side. Choosing how you spend your dirty money. Welcome to the next generation of open-world adventure. Immerse yourself in Cyberpunk 2077.
Joder. Qué ganitas. Qué ganitas.
Muy bien, ¿no?
Muy bien, sí, está bastante bien.
Al menos hemos visto gameplay.
Hostia, lo han parado directamente.
Sí, no. Te voy a decir eso, de paciencia
Pausa.
poca,
Pausa. Pum.
Ha sido un poco. Venga, rapidito que.
Rapidito toma por culo. Bueno, pues hasta aquí el quinto episodio. ¿Será el último?
Sí,
sí, ¿no? O a lo mejor hacen unos días antes un sexto episodio de Night City Wire.
Hombre, no, yo creo que sí, ya, ¿no? Que de verdad.
Creo que además la presentadora lo ha dicho, ¿no? Al principio de todo, que esperaba que fuese el último. Dependerá de si sale cartelito amarillo, ¿no?
Sí, dependerá de eso. De Sacre dice, ¿qué ganas? Dice, bueno, ¿quién necesita un riñón? Se intercambia por un PC high-end. Dice, hermanito. Mira, Sasuquito es cachamatas. Vamos, 10 meses ya y 2 veces que puedo veros en directo. Y segunda vez que puedo veros en directo. Joder, es cachamatas. Pues mira, me alegro de que de vez en cuando nos caces. Gracias por suscribirte, hombre. Falta para Switch, dice Tocinosaur. Pues a lo mejor va en la nube esta de Switch, ¿no? Que es donde va a ir el control. A lo mejor lo hacen funcionar ahí. Solo queda que enseñen gameplay de PlayStation. Sí, dijeron que también iban a enseñar. Este martes, así por sorpresa, enseñaron gameplay en Xbox One y en Xbox Series X. Y dicen que van a hacer lo mismo con PlayStation. Pues nada, hasta aquí. Si sale en 2077 hay un par más. Dice Warcraft. Nada, hasta aquí nuestra cobertura del Night City Wire episodio 5, el que podría ser el último de estos episodios, hablando de la ciudad, de las armas, de cositas de Cyberpunk que están haciendo desde CD Projekt. Espero que os haya gustado. A mí me tiene súper hipeado este juego. Espero que no se retrase más. No creo que tengan pelotas a perderse también la campaña navideña después de haberse perdido el Black Friday. Así que nada, nos marchamos ya de finde. Me han acompañado a Robita Nachomol.
Un placer, que lo paséis muy bien, que descanséis y, como tú dices, a disfrutar un poco el finde.
Y también nos ha acompañado uno de nuestros guapísimos patrones, Rubenjo05.
Nada, muchas gracias por invitarme otra vez y nos vemos la próxima. Que paséis un buen fin de semana a todos.
Pues nada, chicos, hasta aquí nuestra cobertura del Night City Wire episodio 5. Buen finde, nos vemos el lunes. Hasta el lunes.